when I got announced as co-vice with Bella especially, I was really, really proud of myself.
Everything's been touted as you've seen the articles, the Daisy effect, and it's all. But is it also just the group's got more experience? There's more belief in the group.
Yeah, I think definitely it is. The whole team is just a year older, and that's the reality of it.
There's been lots of talk about Ella Roberts so far this season. Do you reckon she's going to be the second player to get that blazer?
Brand of footy she's playing this year is unbelievable. It's what the hell is going on?
This podcast is brought to you by Woodside Energy, helping young players develop and grow as the official sponsor of the Fremantle Dockers Next Generation Academy. Woodside Energy, supporting local footy. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Dubya. I'm Caitlin Bassett, and with me is the number one of the AFLW tipping competition, Miss Rosie Deegan. Rosie, congratulations firstly. This week we are joined in the studio not by a cross-coding athlete, but by a fully fledged footballer, Eagles vice-captain Charlie Thomas. She made her debut with West Coast Eagles in 2022 and has played every single game since. She's also made history by becoming the Eagles' first player to win an All-Australian, and she is the club's reigning best and fairest. How cool was it coming in and having her chat to us?
She's an amazing talent, but also she's an amazing person. And we hear her speak about her leadership and leading so young, and hearing her say how proud she is, which is something so rare. And then also the pathway she had. Hearing her talk about it and how encouraging that is for young girls. She's got an insane footy IQ because she's been playing it, and that's now the pathway that's available for AFLW. So it was an amazing chat. She's an amazing girl. So
yes, and she also gives a glowing review of one of her best mates, Ella Roberts. We hope you enjoy this chat with Charlie. West Coast are in the midst of their most successful season ever under new coach Daisy Pearce, and someone who has been key to that shift is this young woman, Charlie Thomas. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We like to give a little round of applause.
Yeah. If you can get clapping. It close to the mic, it's even
Charlie,
better.
You're rare. We normally talk to cross-coders, but you're an OG footballer. Tell us, why footy?
To be honest, I just copied my older brother, and he happened to play footy, so whatever he did, I sort of copied as well. So, I've played footy since Auskick. So, followed the pathways all the way up and was lucky enough to come at the right time where girls didn't have to stop playing or anything like that. So, it's been really good.
If there wasn't that AFL pathway for you as a female, what sport do you reckon you'd be good at?
Talk yourself up here.
Yeah.
I'd like to say tennis. I feel like tennis is real fun.
Yeah.
I did play a bit of hockey actually when I was younger, and a bit of basketball, but no good. No good. I reckon tennis or cricket are my faves. So,
did you always dream of being an athlete, growing up playing footy, following in your brother's footsteps? Was it always about being an athlete or, school? What else was on your plate?
No, I think definitely sport. I grew up in a pretty sporty family, so I feel like that was kind of the nature of where I was going to go anyway. But, obviously went to school and stuff, but definitely was never really my priority, but did good enough in it, just cruise through, I think. But, it's always sort of been sport.
Do you see a difference in yourself compared to the other AFLW girls who haven't played as long as you? Do you think you've got an IQ better than them? And almost the footy IQ, you know what I'm saying? You've played the game for longer.
Yeah, I think the footy IQ is probably a little bit higher than the others, but then as well as that, they can bring other things to the table from their other sports, like Georgie's netball, Verity's netball and stuff like that. They're bringing in other skills from other sports, which is really helpful as well. But, probably just the footy IQ is a little bit higher, but, yeah.
Played it for longer. Yeah, because Sophie McDonald, she was a hockey player.
Hockey player, yeah.
Yeah. Now she's your partner in crime.
Yeah, literally. I'm missing her out on the field, though. She hasn't played many games this season, but she'll be back, so that'll be good.
Is it going to get to the stage soon where there's not going to be any cross-coders because athletes are going to have to choose early on? Now they can play Auskick and play Waffle W and things like that. Do you think it's going to get to the stage where the cross-coders are phased out, I guess?
Yeah, I think so. I think there will always be room for those freak athletes that are just so good across all sports. But I think the best thing about the pathways now is that it's so normal for girls to play from Auskick. And as soon as they pick up a footy, it's their pathway's already laid out for them instead of having to jump between sports and stuff. But, like I said, I reckon there'll always be room for those crazy people that are just so good at everything and just pick it up as soon as they touch it. So, yeah.
That's so frustrating. I hate those people that are just good at everything.
I mean, I played Auskick with the boys because I'm like a little bit older. So I played Auskick with the boys, and then I played with modified boys all the way up till I was 14. And I remember like an exact moment. I just came from a basketball game. I jumping at the half of like a modified game with like 14-year-old boys, and there was this man-child. And he hit me on a shepherd, and my mum and dad were in the crowd, and they were like, "She's done here. She's done." Like, it seemed like more like I just like couldn't hang. I was like dead on the ground. I was like, and then like I had all my boys getting into a fight for me, and I was like, I might.
How good's that,
Yeah. Well, one time when I was younger, they pulled my ponytail.
I had that as well. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And
on a tackle.
But
and
all
you
the boys
get
just get around you.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once
thanks.
you're their girl, there's like like if you're like a girl on their team, then they'll protect you no matter what.
100%.
But if you're versing them,
Yeah.
they try to go at you a little bit.
Tell us about your draft pathway, because you actually broke your arm in that first game. So you played one game for Subiaco, broke your arm, but then you still managed to get drafted. Like, how frustrating was that, sitting on the sideline and wondering, have I done enough to be able to get picked up by a club?
Yeah, I was super lucky to have done enough. But so I broke my arm in the first waffle game of my draft year, which is like probably one of the most important years in your whole like footy journey. So that wasn't the best start to it, but I was lucky enough to have shown them enough in my footy sort of talent to be okay. And then obviously when you get drafted, they're not just looking at what you can do on field, it's also like your off-field personality and stuff. And I still went through all the interview processes with both Freo and Eagles and stuff. So I was lucky enough to just have shown enough on field to that point, and then was able to show my personality off field as well. And yeah, they happened to like it. So there we go.
Like it.
And so did that affect your first pre-season, or was your arm completely healed up until then? When you got drafted, you could pretty much go straight into pre-season?
It was affected a little bit in the first like month or so, but from there it was kind of fine. It was just about getting it stronger. But it was probably the longest broken arm ever. Like, it just dragged on and on and on. Probably because every week I'd be like, surely I can play, because I just wanted to play footy before I got drafted. So, yeah, probably my fault. But
I was about to say, I had the same issue. I broke my arm in a game, and every time they went to scan it, the break was getting worse and worse. And I was like,
what's going on here?
It's because I was so desperate to get back out there and play. I was like smashing pre-season, smashing the rehab so hard. They're like, you actually just need to sit back and do nothing.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the same situation? You're just pushing the wheelbarrow too hard?
Yeah, definitely.
With the bone break as well.
It just needs
I'll
rest.
heal it myself.
There's a photo of me. I've got my arm in a cast and I'm trying to catch a netball, because at training they'd be like, you can come down and throw. But when they throw it back to me, so I was trying. So every time I got hit with a ball, basically, it was making it work.
Yeah.
But I guess in footy you can still do the running and you can do some bits and pieces like that.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Look, it's your 4th year with the Eagles, and it has been pretty tough previous seasons. I guess, what have the challenges from the last few years kind of taught you, or what have they helped you develop in your own game? I guess obviously mental resilience. As a defender, you're getting smashed week in, week out back there, weren't you?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, being a defender in a losing side, it was kind of, looking back on it now, I'm quite grateful that we did go through that period, because I think as a backline group, we've learnt so much from the last few years. And like you said, we've just been under the pump most games. So, yeah, we kind of learned it the hard way, which is good in a sense. But, I think obviously Daisy coming in this year has just brought a whole new energy, and also the girls that we've drafted and traded and stuff in the trade period last year as well have really brought a new energy as well. And, we're humming along, which is nice, and just keep getting better every week. So we'll continue to do that.
It's actually so exciting to watch you. Like, we've been 2 games, we've watched your away games from TV, and the belief that you guys have as a group. Tell us what it's been like having Daisy come in and bring that with her.
Yeah, I think the biggest change that my family have sort of seen from the sidelines is like when the momentum swings to the opposition way, we're able to wrestle it back, which I think in past seasons we haven't been able to do. It's kind of, I think obviously we were quite a young group for a few years, but now we're a little bit more mature now, and we've played more games than we have before. So, just having that belief in each other that we're going to do our role and trust that everyone's going to go out there and play their role, I think is something that Daisy's instilled in us. And, you can definitely see it out on there. And also just the feeling on field, instead of if the oppo kicks a few goals on us, it's not like panic. It's sort of, that's all right, let's get to work and wrestle it back kind of
Is
thing.
that Daisy's effect, or you also see that coming down from the leadership group who are kind of have been there in the darker times, and they're like, no, we need to change this kind of energy so we have like better resilience as a group. Like, is it top down as Daisy? Because everything's been touted as like, you've seen the articles, the Daisy effect, the Daisy, and it's all. But is it also just like the group's got more experience? There's more belief in the group, like the leadership. Like, is it more just like the whole team rather than, no offense, just Daisy?
Yeah, I think definitely it is. The whole team is just a year older, and that's the reality of it. And obviously Daisy has played a massive role in that. But yeah, like I said, not only Daisy, but the people we drafted in as well. Like Ali Drennan, she's played at 3 or 4 different clubs before coming here. And there's such a difference in taking like a fresh 17-year-old and to her who's got some experience. So I think it's a collection of the young girls' new energy, obviously Daisy being unreal, and then obviously the older girls that we drafted in as well have brought another energy.
It's interesting because trade is happening at the moment in the AFL, and you look at picking up, a number 1 draft pick or having someone who has so much potential, but then you look at a player who maybe is leaving a club who is a ready-made athlete but might not have fitted in there, or they might not have been able to get the best out of them in the club that they're in. Like, how important is it to have the right balance of young, exciting athletes and bringing in those more experienced heads?
Yeah, I think it's super important. Like, obviously the young girls that are coming through these days, like we spoke about before, are like natural footballers and they've grown up around it. So to have them on the team makes us better in an instant. But as well, like that experience, even signing Verity as a older athlete, like although she's not a footballer, but she's been in an elite environment for like,
it's like the
pretty much her whole
of it
life.
All.
Yeah, it's the standards that you like you can't really just tell them what to do. Like, you got to show it. Like, if you just watch Verity for a day or a week or whatever, like you'll pick up so many of her habits instead of just like being like, yeah, this is what you got to do. So it's like modeling that behavior instead of just telling them, kind of thing.
Old heads are good for the game.
I mean, yes, I agree. They can set standard. They're generally a little bit more calm and relaxed as well because they've had challenges. Like, we talk about players who have come back from giving birth, and you come back with just such a different perspective. Like, things that used to stress them out on game day is now nothing because they've got other things to stress about.
It's even you see it with like people coming back from injuries. Like once they kind of find their form again, it's like the joy of like just being out there again after they haven't been able to play. Like, I'm sure you had that. Like, when you finally got drafted and be like, 100%. I can, like, take this opportunity. Sometimes, like, if you're going cruising through, like, uninjured, like, the pressure of the game and, like, the stuff you put on it becomes, like, more than just, like, enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it's not that 100%. You're not grateful. It's, like, when you do get the opportunity to get back out there, you're like, oh, this is how
right, like,
this
is why I've been. I know you've been working so hard and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Daisy described you as supremely coachable, which I think is amazing. Like, that's the type of person you want in your team. How would you describe yourself as a player? This is something that we've talked about.
Been discussing this.
I think it's really hard. Like, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Yeah, I'd like to think coachable, and I think that comes just in a way I ask heaps of questions. So, like, always want to know more. And obviously, Daisy being Daisy, she's been in the system since it started. So she's been through everything. Like, she's been at Melbourne for so many years, and she knows what it takes to be such a good AFLW player. So asking heaps of questions as well. And then also, I think I'm really fortunate at Eagles that I really trust all the coaches. So when I do ask them a question, like my backline coach, Rowan, last year played a massive part in my footy that I played last year. Like, I just have so much trust in him that whatever he says, like, I know that it's coming from such a care. And same with Martine this year, like, just the amount of care that they have in me, I'm like, I trust what you're saying and I'm going to listen to it. So, I think I've just been really fortunate with some great coaches over the last few years at Eagles where I've just been like, I fully trust you, so whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it.
How would you want your teammates to describe you as an athlete? Like, if we were talking to one of them and said, hey, how would you describe Charlie Thomas, what would you want them to say about you?
I hope they would say, like, calm, like you said, just having that calmness on and off field. Like, not everything's a massive deal. Like, on field, for example, get a goal kicked on us, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, we're going to be okay kind of thing. And then probably just from a care point of view as well, just really caring and not only just about their football, but getting to know them as a person, which is something that I pride myself in as well.
Yeah,
You've killed that answer. I said unorthodox, and that's all.
That's
all
I said
pulled out with.
clumsy.
Yeah, she said clumsy. I said unorthodox. So you've nailed this. Yeah,
That's so good.
Clumsy.
You mentioned before your partnership with Sophie McDonald, and obviously you haven't had her this season. She's been sidelined with concussion and then an wrist injury as well. How have you had to adapt to that? Because last season, obviously, breakout for you. You made history, first All-Australian Eagles player, you club champion. What has it been like this season without her next to you?
Yeah, I think obviously Soph Mac is such a good lockdown defender, so her role really complements the way that I play footy as well. It's sort of, if she takes the best forward, I don't have to worry about it too much and kind of play a bit lazy and not
play off a little bit.
Off my
What's
player
playing lazy in AFLW?
Just not having to be fully stuck to my
Like
opponent.
as accountable, you're more like drifting. You know,
Yeah.
like Tom Stewart when he just
Zone
flies
defense.
in. Zone. And that's
Zone.
Yeah. I was just zoning up, coach. I'm sorry. You're just all the way up the
Just
field.
filling the space.
AKA lazy.
Yeah.
But no, obviously when an injury happens, another opportunity arises for someone else. And I think Beth Schilling stepped up to the plate, like she's playing unreal footy. And obviously not just her, but Zoe Wackfer as well. And obviously Georgie Cleaver's been in the starting lineup in the defence a few times as well. And also Jess Wrench. So I think, we're sort of filling the whole of Soph Mac, but obviously she's an unreal player and it'll be great if and when we get her back. I'm really excited for her to come back. But like I said before, I think people have really taken the opportunity in obviously a sad situation.
I think that's what we've seen a lot from your club this year is, Hosco being out, you had a couple of injuries. Franklin, she's out at the moment with a broken finger, but the players who have been given the opportunity have really stood up as well. How important is it to have a team of players that you have confidence that whoever is out on the field can get the job done?
Yeah, I think that's also something that Daisy's kind of brought over as well, is we're only as good as we've got 34 players on our list because we've had so many injuries, but we're only as good as our 34th player. So, and I think the belief that we have as a group that if whoever it is, like one of the emergencies get called up to play, we absolutely know that they're comfortable in their role and they'll go out there and try their absolute hardest, and that's all we're ever going to ask from them. But obviously injuries are pretty tough and it's all a part of sport, but I think the most important thing is just having trust in each other that they're going to go out and play their role if and when they do get called upon.
If you think that the Fremantle Dockers Next Generation Academy is only about footy, think again. It's also about giving young people the opportunity to realise there is the possibility to be great on and off the field. It's about helping young players develop and grow, and as the official NGA partner, Woodside is supporting this dream from grassroots to greatness. Growing Freo's pool of talent to feed the AFLW and AFL, and always cheering our next generation on. Woodside Energy, supporting local footy. How many players do you think should be on an AFLW list? I know it can be really hard.
Debate, yeah.
But do you know what?
Topic.
From a player's point of view as well, it's really hard sometimes when there's a million of you because you're fighting for a spot out on the field, but then it does help being able to do drills at training. I don't know, where do you sit on it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think if the AFL want to do more of the condensed fixture, which is 4 games in some ridiculous 15 days or whatever.
Yeah.
I think bringing an extra couple players is necessary. It's almost
with that type of
have to.
strain on the body.
Exactly.
The injury rates just naturally will go up if you're putting that much strain on people's bodies.
Yeah,
so
100%.
you need extras. It's kind of logical.
Yeah,
I reckon.
You'd think so, and I reckon they probably will do that this year. And I completely trust the AFL in whatever decision they make, but. I think if the AFL are looking to do that as more of a long-term thing, like that condensed fixture, I think it'll only make the game better to have, more depth in amongst sides. And also, I think, there's 3 or 4 of the clubs went under there. So they had
there was 4 at one stage.
4 at one stage. So taking a train on who's only been training once a week with the club. Imagine if that player's had a full preseason at AFLW level, it's more just confidence in them as well that they're up to the standard kind of thing. So,
I wonder if you guys could adopt what America does in terms of how it's we want more people to train against to raise the standards. In America, they do. So for my team, we trained against boys. So what they did is, like, instead of, like, extending our list to, like, because the argument's, like, you extend a list, right, you dilute the talent. That's, like, the argument people say, because then you're getting people who haven't trained as much and da-da-da. So they got us to play against boys who obviously aren't up to the standard of AFL or Waffle, but, like, naturally we know this, like, boys are very athletic and stuff like that. And it like, raised our standard crazily because you're playing against people who are just athletic but not as, like, IQ-based. So then it's, like, you're kind of fighting that. I wonder if that's something that the AFLW would even, like, look into. Because I know the Waffle Eagles boys did some trainings with the AFLW girls when I was around the Eagles.
Yeah, right.
Just to kind of work on that.
Do you think they'll be taking opportunities away from, like, the next tier? Because I do understand diluting the talent pool, and I will put my hand up and say I used to get frustrated sometimes when we had a million training partners and I would have to only get one go at a drill because everyone got to go through. But in saying that, I know you only get better by actually doing stuff.
Yeah.
So having them involved, I don't know, maybe it's a, hey, 1 week, 1 day at training, we have all in and we invite boys, girls, whoever, and we do some really hard scrimmage against them. This week it's just the team. Like, how do you find that balance, I guess?
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. I feel like with the AFLW system, the train-ons sort of come in when we are starting to play scrimmages and stuff. So it's great to have them down there. And, like, if you have, there's 30 on a list, 5 usually injured with or managing or whatever, that's 25. Divide that's 12 each side. You can't get much out of that. But with the top up of those train-ons and stuff, I think it makes it just more better. And like you said, that then pushes players to have to play even better, and it kind of pushes your limit. But yeah, it's
like,
a
if
hard
you
one.
integrate them, then you relatively can wear that. You know, if, like, you have, like, some training players here and there, and you can, like in Footy, we were talking this with Verity, like, you can hide some players if they're not, like, as good or up to standard. So, like, if you're trying to get 18, like, throwing them in, and then they're just only going to develop in the game. Yeah. But hopefully they don't, like, be botched now on the foot. So...
you're the only All-Australian West Coast player, and there's been lots of talk about Ella Roberts so far this season. Do you reckon she's going to be the second player to get that blazer?
I hope so. God, she deserves it. And I know there's still 4 games left, but the brand of footy she's playing this year is unbelievable. It's like, what the hell is going on?
Did you see it? Did you see it in pre-season? Because I remember talking to Tildy Sargent, and she, like, the whole time when I was, like, asking her about, like, prep for this, and she just kept saying, like, oh, Ella Roberts is going to have a breakout. Ella Roberts. Like, was it something that you guys all knew was going to happen by the way she was having her pre-season?
I don't think there was much different about this year compared to the years that have gone, but I think just the talent that she has, it was bound to happen, whether it was this year, next year, last year. Like, just the way that she can play the game and her footy IQ, like we were saying before, like, she's the most natural football I've ever seen. And, yeah, whether it was this year, next year, or whenever, she was bound to, like...
The inevitable.
Just bang the...
Put that as a caption.
Yeah, it was. It was
inevitable that she would come through.
Yeah.
Look, we talk about her a lot. We talked about you a lot last year. Is it scary having that threat now as another superstar in the team? Or
Oh, no, not at all.
Rosie was like, as the American side of her was like, oh, well, you know, there can only be one star in a team.
You know, my American individualistic ideology these days is crazy.
How do you feel? Is it, because I always used to say having other good shooters around me pushed me to get better, because I was always then competing against them, trying to get better.
Yeah.
Is it kind of the same in your group? Like, the more players you have that are at a top level is really going to push the whole standard up?
I mean, yeah, 100%. But also alongside that, obviously Ella's one of my best mates. So to see her do so well that I knew she always could is like, oh, it just makes me so proud. So
it's not a bad best, like, friend. You know, the two of you are pretty good.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But
Quite
yeah,
the resume.
obviously, like you said, the better that we each individually are, then we're going to be better as a team, which ultimately that's what we're there for, is to win.
I like to say basketball's a little different because
Really?
not even like it's more like
Because it's selfish. Yeah.
it's not a team sport.
Trying to hang
No,
out a
it's
little
just
bit.
more like it's just like you only have 5 people on the court.
Yeah.
So like it's like NBA, like Luka Doncic will take like 25 shots. Steph Curry will take 25 shots. Like, you need, like, role players around those stars. Whereas, like, if you see, like, teams with 2 stars, it, like, doesn't work.
Yeah.
But basketball's, like, a different dynamic because you only have 5.
Yeah. But I think what we
That's fair
saw,
enough.
like, same against Port on the weekend is that when there are multiple targets that can kick goals, it's really hard to cover all of them.
In footy, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like you see the best teams, it's always like people who are like everyone's a threat.
Yeah, so the more superstars you have in a team surely would be better because the other team's then trying to scramble to cut off all those options. Like, who do you tag? Oh, crap, they've got Ella, they've got Charlie. They've got way too many players. Like, this is confusing.
Definitely.
Have you ever got tagged in the back line? Like, if you, because you play loose back there.
Yeah.
Do they ever send someone just to, like, stop you from intercept marking and stuff like that?
It's kind of hard to tell because it's like I'm a defender, so I go up to the forwards, whereas it's not really the other way. But
you don't know if their job is just to run you ragged and take you out of the game.
I reckon it would be because, like, you see it even, like, in the AFL men, like, Tom Stewart, like, almost every time gets a tag. Like, Barras was getting, like, people whose, like, whole job wasn't even to score goals. It was just, like, make sure he doesn't mark. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I personally think with my advanced footy IQ, they're tagging you.
So you don't know. So you could just be like chasing around your player and that you don't know that their job could be.
Yeah. No, you just got to listen to their huddle as they're going like, oh, you've done a great job, Charlie, today. Yeah.
Look, let's talk about leadership. Co-vice captain with Bella Lewis. I guess what's it like leading? Because you're only 21 and you're one of the most experienced girls in the group. Like, what's it like leading at a young age and I guess having older players around you and leading them?
Yeah, it's a massive honour. And yeah, when I got announced as co-vice with Bella especially, I was really, really proud of myself and just honoured that the group sort of sees me as a leader. But yeah, it's been an unreal journey. I think learning from Swanee, Emma Swanson, and obviously Bella as well, and then Tildy and Hosco supporting them as well. I think I've just learnt so much this year, and I don't think this year's necessarily about me being the face of any sort of leadership or anything, like sort of leave that up to Swanee and Bella and even our old leaders like Hooks and stuff to do, just that maturity. But yeah, just a sponge this year and learning so much from all of them. It's been really eye-opening.
Has it changed the way you've played at all, or that's kind of the beauty of leadership is, you know, you've been recognised for what you do contribute and they just want you to continue doing that and then lead others by performing well? Yeah,
I think that's the most important thing about leadership is like when you get into a role, it's really easy to be like, oh, now I've got to do more. But it's like you got into the role because of what you already do, so you don't need to go out and change anything drastic. So, I think that's been something to think about this year is just like being comfortable that I got voted in as what I'd already been doing and there's no need to change sort of who I am or what I'm contributing to the team. But I think it's been quite nice because it's kind of forcing me to think outside of my own game. Like if I'm having a terrible game last year, it might have been hard to be like, oh, let's think about other people. Like even though that kind of comes naturally to me to branch out, but even more so now it's like, don't worry about your own game. Let's see how we can get Wrenchy into the game or Georgie or whoever it is, Beth Shillow or whatever. So it's been really good.
And that helps, doesn't it? Like it's like I remember, and I'm sure like Seabass said, is when you start like looking outside yourself in anything in life, let alone like sport, like it just takes the pressure off you and you can play like more your natural game when you're
100%.
Like, oh, I'll get you involved, I'll support you. It's just like kind of like it's like you're just feeding off each other's energy. So someone else's.
Exactly.
Well, like
but you can't focus on someone else until you are confident in your own job. You need to know what your role is and know that you can execute that. Because if you're too busy worrying about other people, like you said, then your own performance goes down and then you're fighting yourself. So like it's really important, obviously, like you said, honoured and proud because you know how to do your role. Yeah. Even though you're 21, you've played 36 games now. Like you're one of the most experienced girls. That's
it's refreshing. Like it's genuinely refreshing to hear you say proud because I feel like athletes, like we've talked about this, like there's like this narrative in like the media, you do a thing and it's always like you almost can't be proud of yourself because you'll be seen as something. But like for like that achievement, like it's like refreshing to hear you say that you're proud because you obviously work so hard. Like I feel like athletes sometimes don't even give themselves like enough credit. Like they're always so hard on themselves.
For sure.
That you never really like truly appreciate like your achievements, which you are. So
thank you.
It's been a record-breaking season so far this year. There's another record on the horizon that you guys can nab, and that's beating Freo because that's never happened before. Is that something that's on the radar? Have you talked about that? I know it's one game at a time mentality, but how cool would it be to beat them? After all the seasons you've played.
Yeah, I think it's always like such a big deal, kind of the derby, heading into the derby. But yeah, obviously, like you said, we are thinking about Hawthorn this weekend away in Melbourne. But there's always something special about the Derby. And I think as soon as the fixtures come out, you kind of scan them to see when we're versing them and stuff and mark it in your calendar. Just really excited. And obviously all the funds are going to telethon, so it'll be really, really good to get hopefully a really big crowd down at Leaderville. And hopefully it'll just be a really good game. And obviously we want to win for the first time ever.
They do have comeback potential. We have been seeing Freo. We've been talking to a couple Freo girls, and every time we're in there, we're like, slow start. Because they've been doing all those like game-winning goals after the siren or like in the last minute. And so we're like, how do you like...
Even yesterday, like obviously they versed Hawthorn and they were down by 13 at three-quarter time. I was like, they'll bloody win this somehow.
Right.
But
That's what I'm saying.
They didn't, but Hawks were too good, I think, on the day. But they're crazy like that.
Yeah,
Just
I
leave it
reckon
to
that's
the
going to,
last
like,
minute.
this Hawthorn game, though, obviously then is going to be huge for your guys' confidence. Like, if you get this win, then it's like, well, they couldn't do that. We did it. Like, you're going almost into the Derby being like, we're the team to beat here.
Yeah, 100%. I think it'll be a really good game this year. Looking forward to it.
Just sitting inside the top 8 at the moment. I guess for you guys and the season that you've had has been incredible, but is making finals, I guess, the ultimate success? I know you're chasing a flag, but what will you consider is successful at the end of this season?
I think obviously we just wanted to get better than last year, and we've done that already, and that doesn't mean that now we go, yep, sweet, we've done it, tick.
Take the foot off the pedal.
Sort of let's keep going and see really how far we can get and what boundaries we can push. So, we'll just look to win as many games as we can with 4 games left and see where that takes us, really. And, hopefully that is in the top 8 at the end of the season. And then from there, it's sort of just... exactly. And then, once you get into finals, it's kind of just like you never really know week to week.
You saw that with Brizzy and the men's.
Exactly.
Like, they came from, seemingly nowhere and then won by 60 points. So it's like...
Exactly.
Once you get into finals, it's anybody's game. It's just the momentum of it all.
100%.
Do you think after versing Brisbane, you kind of know what it takes a bit more so to be, one of those top teams that are really competing for the premiership or have been there? Because obviously you guys got beaten. But we were talking, I think, to Georgie, and she said, we felt like we underperformed. They didn't beat us. Obviously they were good, but you guys could have performed better and been more competitive, almost. Yeah,
I think Brisbane, Adelaide, North, all those top teams have just been, the benchmark of the competition for a good, solid amount of years. So it's such a great learning opportunity when you do come up against such a good side. It's like, whoa, we've got so much growth to go, but then also, we matched them in this, and this, so we're on the right track, but there's still this to go. So, I think it was a great learning opportunity, and it's so good to just be okay, we've still got so far to go, and then also that our process is still working because, like you said, it wasn't a complete belting or anything. We were still in the game, and there were patches where we were certainly on top, and then patches where we sort of fell away a bit as well. So, just a massive learning opportunity.
Where do you think, what did you learn from watching Freo and Hawks yesterday? What do you think potentially you guys need to do, or where did Freo fall down in that game?
If I'm honest, I was there with my mates, all the Eagles girls, so we were just having a bit of a laugh on the side. But obviously, we were there watching, but I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
I think it's the handshakes. I think Hawthorn have nailed the handshakes, and it's
really,
the
were they
between...
good celebrations?
Oh, I saw it on the AFLW thing, and it's like, this is an elite handshake, and it's
a bit of that.
A bit of that after a goal.
Yeah,
that could have been the difference maker. You never know.
We saw some good celebrations from your team on the weekend as well. Tell us about them. Roxy Rue, she had her celebration. What's going on with this?
We asked her about it after, and she actually doesn't have an answer for it.
What she does?
It was to do because what did she do? Cover
she
the
went
glove?
Something.
I think it's to do with the glove because she hurt her hand, and then it has to wear that glove now. I don't think there was too much.
And then I saw something else. Who did that one?
Or against Collingwood. Bella
someone did that in the game on the weekend. Someone did an M as well.
Oh, and yeah. She did that in Collingwood as well.
Yeah.
It's do you know the game Mafia? The card game?
Yeah.
So
great game.
Yeah, great game. When we were in the condensed fixture over in Melbourne, we had a week to spend with each other. And we were all sitting around one day being what the hell do we do? And then I think it was Tildy or maybe Bella because Freo play it heaps and they're like, oh, let's play this game Mafia.
It's an elite game.
I love
So
Mafia.
fun.
Oh, mate. It's a
No matter
OG
how old
game.
I am,
Yeah.
I was in Vietnam, touring around Vietnam, and I taught everyone like a group of like 20 people in our
Gets
hostel.
so
Mafia.
feisty though, doesn't it?
The
And everyone's like,
accusations,
"You're lying, you're
right?
lying."
The accusations flying around to strangers you don't even know.
Yeah,
it's
it's
good.
so good.
good.
So yeah, I think Bella did the M for that. That was quite good actually.
I mean, you've kicked one goal in your career, haven't
Yeah.
you? What's your goal celebration? What would you do if you kicked
There's
one
got to be
against the
prep.
Hawks?
There's got to be there's got to be prep given that you're a backline.
not really. I feel like just probably arms up and then get around me, girls. Like, come on, somebody coming
That's always
up.
embarrassing though if like people are too far away and
Yeah.
you're by yourself for too long.
Yeah.
So how long
Is
do I
anyone
keep this
coming?
going? How long do I keep this going?
Get in here.
Literally.
Pride round this week coming up, and you had the most beautiful Pride jerseys the other day that you wore. Like, tell us about them. How cool is that?
Yeah, it was unreal to pull that jersey on, and obviously the actual Pride round will be this week against Hawthorn, but we're obviously not home for it. So, yeah, to pull that jersey on, super proud to wear it. And Sophie Mac actually helped with the design, and Rob King as well, who was a part of our program last year and now is over in New Zealand. So, really grateful of the work they did going into that jersey. And yeah, it's so pretty. It's probably my favourite.
I was gonna
we've
say I
had.
don't mean to be favourites here. I did see Frios. I'm going with Eagles
Yeah.
on your one. I liked yours better.
So if you jump on the AFLW website, there's a preview of all the clubs. Melbourne Demons. Not a fan.
I was like, where's the pride?
I was like, exactly, like, what is this?
They're hiding it.
I
That's
do
gotta
like
be saying
I do
something.
like kangaroos. Theirs is like a kangaroo with a love heart in the middle of it. Like, it's quite
Okay.
pretty. I think they're all beautiful. in
I
their
like
own
a
way.
bit of
Sydney's.
femininity in
Yeah.
the jerseys. I've been saying this. Like you wear the ribbon, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, tell us
Yeah.
about rocking the ribbon. That's just a very
love
netball
it.
thing.
I love
Is
a ribbon.
it?
It's a very netball thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you fake tan, you are only a netballer.
I
They're
don't
the two.
fake tan,
There you
actually.
go.
Yeah.
We could have got a.
That
we
would
could
have
have
been
got
true
another.
netball-ish.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly.
I used to wear scrunchies. I think in my first year I wore scrunchies, and then I was like, nah, let's go with ribbon. And my sister is like all into that fashion stuff. So I'm like, Eliza, what should I do? And she's like, put this, do this. And I'm like, all right, you do it. And then, yeah, she put all the rainbow ribbons in, which was cool. I liked it.
I think they're really cool.
But I'll
as
go
well.
back to the just the blue this week.
Look good, feel good, play good.
I am a true believer in that.
Whatever you
sure.
need. Which is why I don't understand. Why would you not fake tan then? Don't you want to look down and...
It's coming into summer.
What about boots?
The
What colour
sun's doing
boots
it
do you wear?
yourself.
Either white or blue. But fake tan, it just looks so bad when
Yeah.
it's done badly.
Yes, it's true.
Like,
Oh, the hands. It's always in the hands. You can
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, on the wrist. That's the dead giveaway. Well, I'm so glad we could discuss all the important topics with you today. We can't wait to see you against Hawks. And then for the Derby, like you said, it's all about telethon and raising as much money as we can from them. Leadville Oval is going to be absolutely pumping. But good luck this week against Hawk, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Woo! We're there again.
Well, Rosie, that is us done for this week. You are sitting number one in the tipping at the moment. Can you please give us some tips? How do you go about picking your teams each week?
Oh, it's all about the feeling, you know, when you know the game like I do. It's all about just knowing the personnel and I've actually considered after my successes going into being a professional bettor because I've contemplated how much money I could have won if this was legitimate betting. But I can't give away my secrets.
Do you ever change your tips? Because I've been
do.
fooled by going in and changing at the last
Yeah.
moment, and I think that burnt me last week. So is it
No,
once you
I
pick-
change my tips sometimes, but that's if I've heard something, you know, through the grapevine.
All right, you heard it here first. Thanks for joining us today. Remember, for all your AFLW news, get a copy of the West Australian or jump on thewest.com.au. And don't forget to follow or subscribe. You can watch this podcast on YouTube Music. Leave us a rating. We would love a review. And don't forget to tell your
email.
mates. Please.
An email,
Rosie
please.
Deegan wants an email. Hit us up, wya@wanews.com.au. And we will catch you next week to discuss everything coming out of the AFLW. This podcast is brought to you by Woodside Energy, helping young players develop and grow as the official sponsor of the Fremantle Dockers Next Generation Academy. Woodside Energy, supporting local footy.